Hi there. For this video, we'll be talking about factoring polynomials. Specifically, we'll start with the greatest common monomial. Now let's start with an example to discuss this one. If we have 10x squared plus 5x plus 20. Now, similar to GCF, or the greatest common factor, what we do is we try to determine the largest common factor among each term. Now, for this case, we note that we can actually write this one as, we can split 10 into 5 times 2 x squared plus 5x plus, and we can split 20 into 5 times 4. Now, as you can see, a common factor that is present among each term in this polynomial is 5. So we can factor that one out. By factoring that one out, we'll have 5 out here multiplied by what's left inside, which are 2x squared, x, and 4. So we'll have here 2x squared plus x plus 4. Now, if we inspect again, are there any common factors among each these terms? Well, first, if we consider this 2, is it present in the second term? Nope. It is present in the last term, since 4 can be split into 2 times 2, but since it is not present in the second term, we can't factor it out. How about for x squared? Or simply x? It is present in the second term, but it is not present in the last term. So we cannot factor that out as well. And the same goes for the other terms out here. And so we conclude that this out here is the factored form of this polynomial. So that is how we factor polynomials. But that is still the basic one. Let's move on to a harder, not quite harder, but a more challenging example. Let's have 2a raised to 5 minus 16a squared. Now from here, note that we can write this one as first 2, then a raised to 5. We can split this one into a raised to 3 times a squared minus, note that we can split 16 into 2 times 8. So we'll have 2 times 8 out here times a squared. And now from here, we can observe that each of these two terms has a factor of 2 and factor of a squared. So we can factor that one out, and we'll have 2a squared out here times the inside will contain a cube, since it is left here, minus 8. And so we have this one. Now, are there any more common terms between a cube and 8? Clearly, no. So we can conclude that 2a squared is the greatest common monomial in this polynomial. Note that this isn't actually the fully factored form of this polynomial. That is because a cubed minus 8 can actually still be factored out. However, we won't discuss that out here first since our focus here is the greatest common monomial. To learn more about this, we're probably gonna tackle this one in the future videos, especially when we talk about factoring binomials. So let's have one last example. Let's have 7w x squared minus 35 w x y z plus 35 w x minus 7 w x y. So this looks quite complicated, but let's figure this out. First, note that we can write 7w x squared out here as 7 times w times x minus we can write 35w x y z out here as 7 times 5 times w times x times y times z plus we can write 35wx out here as 7 times 5 times w times x. And lastly, we can write 7wxy as it is. Yeah, since we can't really factor anything out here. 7 times w times x times y. And from here, we can now compare the common terms. First, we can see that each term has a factor of 7. Aside from that, each factor has a term of w out here and also x. Does each term have a factor of 5? Clearly, no. This doesn't have a 5, and this one. How about another x? Well, only this one has another x factor. For y, this doesn't have a y. This doesn't have a y. For z, this is the only term that has a z. For the factor 5, this too doesn't have a factor of 5. And so, we can now factor out 7, w, and x. So we will have 7wx times what's left inside are x minus 5yz plus 5 and minus y. And this is the factored form of this polynomial. And the greatest common monomial out here is 7wx. And so that is how we factor out a monomial in given a polynomial. I guess the best tip that I can give here is to try and factor out the given polynomial, each term, into its simplest form. Like in this example, we decompose 7wx squared into 7wx times x. This one, we decompose it into its simplest form. Same with the other terms. And from there, we can easily compare the common terms present in every term. And so that's it for this video. I hope you learned something from here. And yeah, feel free to comment any suggestions and recommendations that you have for the future videos. So that's it, and that is all for this video.